Here, on this hallowed ground, in the backdrop of this great city, people can be pretty passionate about their team. From Brooklyn to New Haven, down to the Jersey Shore, it's more of a way of life. But let's be honest, this isn't something new. Here, they want you to be bold. They want you to be fearless.
He's got 4 men on his back. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Giants.
They want you to be relentless. So in other words, you better bring your A game. That desire for you to be great
And Gano connects from 57.
calls for you to be smart,
Short of the first down. He's wrapped up.
to be tough, to be dependable.
Hit by Thibodeau and sack.
Because here, loyalty runs deep.
We welcome you to MetLife Stadium. Some of the celebrities who are here tonight.
And if you rise to the challenge,
Touchdown, Giants.
you will be legendary.
What a play by the Giants.
You will be giant.
Be a giant, baby! We are back in the building, dude. Like, it has been a hot minute. We haven't done the Giant Show in so long. So we decided, you know what? Those 49er boys, they got their show. They do their thing all the time. Why can't we? We bleed blue over here. So we're going to do our own thing. This is the Big Blueprint, a Giants podcast presented by the Executive View, hosted by myself, the villain, Barry, in the building, and my co-host, as always, Anthony in the building, talking Giants football. What's up, man?
Villain, good to see you again. Thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
Absolutely, man. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not having you on. This is your show. You hosting. You with the villain. You know what I'm saying? Pull up.
We've been giving our Knicks so much love. You know, we can't let our Giants feel left out. You know, we got to give them
absolutely.
love too, you know,
and they calling us out. And like they when the Giants play the 49ers, we pulling up. Okay, all right.
That's why our ears were ringing. I got you.
Yeah,
all
exactly. Right. So we're like, all right, we're gonna get this in. We're gonna do our thing. But it's great to have you here talking some Giants football. Listen, the season started when Brian Daboll was canned, and as soon as the regular season was over, we were on the hunt for our next coach. We got John Harbaugh to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants, and we're running into the offseason. But, I mean, the offseason, obviously, is not without off-field distractions so far. Recently, there's been headlines made by our quarterback, Jackson Dart, attending a rally for Donald Trump. And, you know, your political views be what it is, but it's just an off-field distraction. So I definitely want to get into that and then get off of this really quick because I am sick of hearing about it. If you listen to the fan, that's all they want to talk about, or, you know, what have you with the Giants. But off-field distractions are not what we want in New York when we're, you know, heading into the season. And talk to me about how this could be, like, how could this be a detriment to the team?
You know, Barry, I'll tell you, I'm not overly worried about it. I'm glad that obviously we wish it doesn't happen at all, right? But if it's going to happen, and again, we don't want it to happen ever, but if it's going to happen, at least it's happening on May 28th and not August 28th, right? And so I think there's time. And from what I understand, when it happened on Saturday, I believe it was, he and Abdul Carter quickly buried the hatchet. They got together. Abdul Carter had some posts on X later that day to say, you know, listen, me and JD6 are good, as he put it. Y'all stick with your own narratives. We're good. And then I read before we jumped on here tonight that Dart called a players-only meeting yesterday. Now, Abdul Carter wasn't in attendance of that meeting because he was celebrating a Muslim holiday.
Yes.
But that's probably because he and Carter had already spoken, probably hashed everything out already. So he had a players-only meeting today. Then you saw Jermaine Illuminor's tweet saying, we good, there's no locker room rift going on here. So everybody's saying all the right things. I'm sure it caused some consternation in that building. And maybe Dart was asked to call that players-only meeting. I don't know if it was something he volunteered to do entirely or if he was kind of pressured to do it. But be that as it may, I think there's enough time here, enough runway before things really get serious, where he can, bridge whatever gaps he's created in that locker room by doing this. So, and I think also in that room, again, political stances aside, I think everybody respects each other's political beliefs, even if they may vehemently disagree about them. So, I think everybody still looks up to Dart in that locker room. They see him as a leader. And if he's out there calling players only meetings and taking the bull by the horns here, I thought that was a really mature thing for him to do after, what had happened over the weekend. So I'm hopeful, Barry. Short answer is I'm hopeful that this is not going to have lasting effects. And by the time the season starts, especially if this team gets off to a nice start and is winning games, I think in the next 4 months, we're going to be forgetting all about this, or we have the potential to. So
yeah, that's usually how it goes, right? Like when everything's going good, nobody cares, right? Nobody really gives a damn about the whole situation. I think we talked about it. We went back and forth on it. Like we have differing political views, but that doesn't come between anything that we do, right? Just me and you personally. Yeah. I think it's just a misstep. These are 22, 23-year-old kids that, he didn't make a mistake. He just didn't think this through. And think about the repercussion of your actions. And I think that's a learning experience for this kid at the end of the day. I'm not going to get into a political tirade. I saved that for other people and other, things that I've done. But, it's the fact that he went out, did what he did, but he did it without the team's knowledge. And then it's like inciting everybody without his team's knowledge, without his coach's knowledge. So,
that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. And that might be why why the coaches and the ownership and such kind of asked him to mop this up a little bit, because he went out there representing the New York Giants, talking about the Giants in that rally after not having even consulted with anyone. So I'm sure he got some pressure in that building to say, hey, if you're going to go out and be a mouthpiece of the New York Giants and represent our organization, then you need to consult with us first before you start talking about the New York Giants at a political rally, right? I think that's where it lies.
Like you could do whatever you want. You go out there and talk about your political views and everything. Because if it was on the other side and they it was Biden or whoever it was, and somebody else came out, you can't please. You're only going to please half of the country with this. So, and I don't think it's a misstep for him to go out there and be at the rally. I think it's a misstep for him to do it and not tell anybody what he was going to do and just pop up and then like go Big Blue. Like, dude, Big Blue don't rep like that. Yeah. Their owners are independents and Democrats. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, but it's a learning experience. He'll learn from it. And it's just another thing that Harbaugh has to navigate now. It's another issue that he has to navigate on top of the fact that he's trying to build a proud franchise back to a proud franchise. And, I think he's starting to have that cascading effect on the team. I think it was Andrew Thomas, either Andrew Thomas or one of the players. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but they came out and said that Harbaugh has a different aura about him. And it's not like it's kind of what we talked about, Ant, when we had our show a couple months ago, like the adult in the room. Like he has that effect, and it's like he commands respect in the room. Not to say that, and I'm not quoting the player that said. I think it was Andrew Thomas. I'm not quoting what he said, but it's not to say that Daboll didn't have respect of the players and didn't command respect. But there's levels to it, right? And I think there's a level of respect that Harbaugh, who's done it before, who's been experienced and has won at a high level, has a different aura of respect as opposed to a new rookie head coach trying to find his way. So I think there's something to be said about that, Anthony, and how Harbaugh's coming in and having an immediate impact on the franchise.
Since 2016, when they kind of ran Tom Coughlin out of the building, they have tried this experiment where they were going to go with the sexy new coordinator to try to lead things. And that model has worked in a lot of places in the NFL and in professional sports in general. I don't think it works in New York. I don't think it works with the New York Giants. We needed, and I said this back when we fired Brian Daboll. I've been saying this for the last 10 years, actually. We need a coach who has been a successful head coach in a big market somewhere else, who has faced pressure, the media, who has won a Super Bowl, who is not just some new upstart coordinator, who has been the CEO of a team before. And it's like you couldn't ask for a better fit. It's like the lab spit out John Harbaugh. He checks all of those boxes. He's the adult in the room, like you said, but he's won as a head coach a Super Bowl. He's managed superstar personalities and talents. He has handled, obviously Baltimore doesn't carry the same amount of pressure as New York. But, there's still pressure because Baltimore has had these Super Bowl expectations every single year, especially with Lamar Jackson at the helm. So exactly. Harbaugh is not afraid of the media and of the pressure that they're going to put on, the fans' expectations. He's a football mind. He comes from a football family, a family of football lifers. And I think the day that we got the news Harbaugh was fired, I think I texted you immediately and I said, that's it. We got to get him. We got to get that guy. He is ours. And I think the Giants felt the same way. They just jumped all over the opportunity as soon as the news hit the tape. And they said, we're not going to let this guy go at any cost. We're going to do whatever it takes to reel this guy in. And, like I said, he just checks all the boxes of the kind of coach that I've been saying for years they need, because it just wasn't going to work with the Ben McAdoo's, the Pat Shermers, the Joe Judges, and Brian Dable was an improvement from those guys.
I don't want to hear McAdoo and Pat Shermer.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm getting cold sweats just saying it.
That's terrible. But no, you're right, bro. You're right. I started to cut you off. Keep going.
No, you're good. No, I was just going to say, and Dable, I was just going to finish by saying, Dable was a likable guy. He had the respect of the players of that locker room. I believe they really liked him. His problem was he couldn't manage the emerging crises that were going on. Like things are coming out now about his handling of Abdul Carter. He wasn't holding him accountable. I think that Dable was just having a problem containing what needed to be contained, and he just was starting to get over his head. So again, I think he's going to do a great job in Tennessee as their offensive coordinator. He's got a brilliant coordinator mind, but that's it. There's a lot of guys who are just coordinators. They're not head coaches. So
right. No, I agree with you. I think Harbaugh is the grown up in the room and commands the respect and doesn't have to navigate like how do I do this? How do I fit in? He's done it before at a very high level. And Dable, at the end was trying to keep his job and not, all right, I'll do it with this way. I'll do you this, trying to keep his job, right? And trying to keep, stay in the building, and it just wasn't working. So I agree that, having Harbaugh there is a stabilizing figure. He will work with the kids and make sure that they are held accountable, but really held accountable, not by just, his standard or their standard, by everybody's standard, right? So, and, we said it too when we talked about, the Giants postseason and how they were heading into the season and, into the next offseason. Into the year. We had to get Harbaugh. It's been a while. It harkens back to Tom Coughlin when we hired him. We needed that veteran presence to fix the franchise because it was running amok at that point. Right. And, Coughlin was a hard coach, and he kind of softened up a little bit and won 2 Super Bowls out of it. But you've had that run, to your point, of coaches that
And I was just going to say, and look at how he handled the Malik Neighbors situation on draft night, I think is a brilliant example of his leadership. So Malik Neighbors comes out and he's saying, what the hell are we drafting Arvell Reese for? How are we going to use him? What does John Harbaugh do as soon as he hears that? He picks up the phone, calls Malik, and gives him a full-blown explanation of how they intend to use him, and how they're going to scheme him in and all these. And it's just like, I don't think a rookie head coach, someone who's in over their heads, knows to do something like that. It just shows incredible confidence and leadership and he squashed that before it could ever become a thing. And
he got ahead of that situation, right?
Yeah,
you know
just brilliantly. And then Malik Neighbors comes out and says, "I'm so excited for this dude. I'm loving it." I mean, just sounding like he's fully bought into whatever Harbaugh told him. So, just a great
absolutely.
Sign,
Yeah, it's a great sign. That's what you need, right? So I'm totally happy with that. And, listen, I was happy with the draft, too. I think I talked about it on some of our shows and not shows, but some of the shorts that I've done. Cooking the bird, waiting for you to come on and get this show going, get this popping, our first of many episodes. But, we did have the draft. And, I gave my insight on the draft, and we talked about it on separate threads and stuff like that. But I definitely want to hear your opinion on the draft class from this year, from getting Reese, getting CC, and getting some more bodies like Colton Hood, who I think is the absolute steal of the draft.
Yeah.
I think every pick, their first 3 picks, maybe their first 4 picks, were steals. They were guys that probably should have been drafted a little bit higher, and they slipped, and the Giants snagged them. So, I mean, that was my opinion, but I'd love to get your POV on the 2026 draft class and your early read on what we're seeing so far.
Yeah, certainly. I think they were shocked Reese was still there. I think they were shocked Francis Magnoa.
CC. I just call him CC for right now.
CC, okay. I like that.
Mangola, right? So
I think they were shocked CC was still there. I think they were shocked Hood was still there. To your point, yeah, I think they got tremendous value, and I think they checked both boxes. The value, as far as best available, combined with the need, right? I think that's always the best strategy of a GM. Some people say, "Oh, just get the best available player." Well, I think it needs to be a hybrid approach of best available plus biggest need, right? And I feel like they hit both those boxes, right? We were worried about their corner depth, Colton Hood, right? We were worried about the offensive line depth. I know they re-signed Evan Neal. Who knows what role he's going to play? They made other moves where they re-signed Illuminor. Fantastic. John Michael
fantastic
Schmidt
move.
Still kind of, we'll see. Jury's still out. So, needed to fortify that line. Plus, it matches the identity that John Harbaugh is trying to build here. We're trying to destroy teams in the trenches, right? That's what we're trying to do. So what did we do? With pick 5, we addressed the defensive line, although he's probably going to play more linebacker than he will edge. We can talk about that. And then with their second pick, you get CC to fortify that offensive line. And man, I'm just so excited to see Cam Scatterbo running behind CC. I think he's just going to be a battering ram there. And he's going to have great.
And he is what we hope he is. He's a mauler, right? He's a guy that should come in and, I think the weakness, center is a problem for me.
Yep.
And I think it still is. I like John Michael, and I like him. I think he can play.
Yeah.
But we all know the elephant in the room is that he hasn't proven it yet, and he can't stay healthy. You know what I mean? I thought he was having a good year this year until he got hurt. So, I think that's one of the weaknesses that we would have to address. But other than that, I look at the guard position as a real hole, not the left guard, but the right guard. Yeah. So now you automatically had a guy slide to you that was on your board, but you didn't think he would be there, and Mangola, and you snag him. Right. And then obviously Reese was there at the beginning, and they were. I'm sure you've seen the videos of how excited that Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh were that he slipped that far, and they couldn't. As soon as the Titans pick was in, they were on the phone. We're getting, they couldn't believe it. So I think he fits in their scheme so well. But Colton Hood, like I said, I think he's the steal of the Giants draft. I think his value to get him in the second round to fill a need that we have been dying to get that corner. We thought the guys that we had drafted were going to be that piece. I don't even like to say his name because when I say his name, I get pretty angry. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to do it. But
use him as a kick returner is all I'll say.
Use him as a kick returner, and then he returned a kick that was a big return in that win that would have got us a higher pick, but whatever. We're not going to do that today. but cornerback is a big problem, and Colton Hood really he addresses that. And in a really deep wide receiver class, wide receiver is really a deep position just across the board. Malachi Fields, sure-handed guy. I love that pick because
great catch radius. Mm-hmm. And they say he's not fast, but he is. I mean, his combine times
football speed.
Were awesome.
He's got football speed. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's a big body receiver with sure hands, something that we wanted Darius Slayton to be. And he just isn't. No. He really isn't. So I love that pick. And I like getting Kelly at the back half of the draft. I like J.C. Davis as another swing piece. And Jameson Travis, I like him out of Auburn. He has some good metrics too. So I think all in all, it's a good draft. Yeah. So I think they addressed some pieces, and then they had to address some more pieces with the offseason additions that they had. We talked about it, what they did in the offseason as far as bringing in some of the talent that need to address, right? They needed weapons. They needed weapons at the receiver position. They needed weapons at the receiver position. So what do they go ahead and do? Their biggest pickup wasn't a receiver, it was a tight end. But I think one of the better, most underrated tight ends in the biz in Isaiah Likely, right? I think he is a guy that can stretch the field, and when you have a young quarterback that's over the middle, right, and that you absolutely need just a target, right, and a guy that can stretch the field. I think he was the best pick that they can get. I love bringing him in, so I love that pickup. I love the pickup of getting the receiver. I'm blanking on him right now.
Me too.
I know. It was a low risk, high reward signing, right? Darnell Mooney that we got. He played with the Bears. He played with the Falcons recently. I thought, he had one good year with the Falcons, got hurt, so his value was a little lower. But listen, he when he had his best season, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, caught 81 passes, over 1,000 yards. We don't need him to be that type of guy. But if he can give us the season that he quietly had in 2024 with the Falcons, just under 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 64 receptions. All right, now we got something, right? I think, getting Jason Pinnock at safety. He went to San Francisco. He's coming back home to be with the Giants. I like Calvin Austin, the receiver, bringing him in. Again, you're not bringing him in to be a 2 or 3 receiver. He was trying to be a 2 receiver. I think Sirius can correct me if I'm wrong if he's watching. He was a 2 receiver in Pittsburgh, and that just didn't work. But you can bring him as a slot guy to go with some other guys that you lost and replace those guys, right? But I like bringing in Greg Newsome as a free agent, the cornerback, played with Cleveland. Really good corner. So now you got Newsome and you got Hood, right? I love that combination that you have. The safety Darius Washington, I think he fills a need. But Likely was the big signing. Getting Ricard, the fullback from the Baltimore Ravens, another good signing. Tremaine Edmonds, obviously the big upgrade on defense. Now you have Edmonds to go with Arvell Reese at the linebacker position. Now your front 7 is as formidable as it can be. So, talk to me about some of those signings that the Giants had, and who are the ones that you are most excited about?
Yeah, I'm excited about Edmonds because we haven't had a really good linebacker room, in my opinion. I know you say what you want about Bobby Okereke. I know he was a fan favorite of some, but I really feel we haven't truly had a great linebacker room since Antonio Pierce walked out the building. And so what Harbaugh is trying to build here is what he had in Baltimore. He had a strong linebacker room there. And again, I'm not comparing anybody to Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is in a class all by himself. But you can see the model that Harbaugh is trying to recreate, right? And he likes Edmonds and Reese in that room together, kind of being the quarterbacks of the defense. So I love that pickup. I love Pat Ricard. I can't wait to watch him blocking for Scadaboo and opening up holes and just, again, bringing that violence that Harbaugh wants to have as part of their offensive identity and just pushing other teams around. I love that for this offense. I love the Isaiah Likely pickup because he's shifty. He's a good route runner. The guy knows how to get open and give Dart a nice target to throw to, and he's got good hands. And he's kind of an up-and-coming tight end. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, some Ravens fans were kind of hoping Mark Andrews didn't get the extension so that they would have seen Isaiah Likely stick around. So I think a lot of Ravens fans were kind of disappointed that Andrews got his contract, which forced the Ravens to have to deal Isaiah Likely. So, all right, we'll take him.
Right. We'll take him, right? A 3-year, $40 million deal, not a big contract, but pretty friendly for us, right? And, you don't have to pay him big money. So, Sirius is being a hater if you can see him in there, but say that for your Steelers show, right? We don't. But
hey, he can set it up all he wants as long as it works in our favor, baby. That's all I care about.
No, exactly. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the goal. But
that's the smarts of Harbaugh, right? That's what he does. He's very strategic in that way. And that's just another thing he brings. So
yeah, I mean, and talk to me about some of the other additions that we made.
The New York Ravens, yeah, definitely. DJ Reader. You didn't mention him, but I love that pickup, especially with the loss of Dexter Lawrence. We were all calling for his name, and then they finally got him. So I think he's going to be a run stuffer in the middle. I don't know if he replaces Dexter Lawrence's production completely, but he's going to be a big body in the middle of that defensive line. And I know the Lions didn't want to let him go, but they had to, and so their loss is our gain. I love that pickup, DJ Reader. So when you have Reader and you got Likely, and you've got Edmonds, and you've got Newsome, and they actually, I saw that they even opened up some cap today by restructuring Andrew Thomas's contract. You could see, what they're trying to build here, and the talent level, I think, of this roster has gone up significantly since, we last watched this team play.
Barry's having some technical difficulties, so I'm gonna steer the ship for a minute. But looking at your offseason, situation, man, the Giants have been significantly busy, and you guys have touched on it. But is there anything? Is there any player that you didn't like, or is there any move that's been made this offseason that you didn't really like at all?
Well, obviously losing Wandale is a loss, but he wanted a bigger contract than we were willing to give him, and we had to let him walk, and it's just too bad that he's now on the Titans. I would have liked to keep him around. I thought his hands were a little inconsistent sometimes, but, he was a great route runner, shifty, great teammate. So I don't like losing him. And I would say, I don't know why Darius Slayton and Deontay Banks are still around. I don't understand.
You said you wasn't going to mention his name.
Yeah, I mentioned it. Sorry, Barry. He can't hear us anymore, so it's okay.
I'm here. I'm back. Because you said Deontay Banks' name, and it totally put a virus on my computer. Slayton had to come back because they signed him. You know what I mean? They're stuck on that contract, and nobody's going to want him. I don't know what we're going to do with him. So you just got to wait that out. And that's money that we couldn't use. We couldn't invest in anybody else. Really, that cap hit in that contract was just a stupid contract. Yeah. We had to let Wan'Dale Robinson go because we signed Slayton last year.
Yeah, that's
why Robinson isn't on the roster, because I think they wanted to bring him back. Yeah. But they couldn't afford it. The cap hit was going to be crazy. So they had to make a business decision. Do we upgrade every other position, like with Edmonds, we had to resign in Umanor. We had to resign him, right? We had to get Edmonds. Right. We were going after Likely. We couldn't do that and bring back Robinson. We had to do one or the other. So once all the money kind of fell out, he was basically a cap casualty. So it was unfortunate. Sure. But yeah, Slayton, he's so talented. He can do it. He just doesn't. He drops. And the videos of the drops that he has, like, really is mind-boggling to me.
And then
like,
he'll make a catch that he has no business making, and it's like,
oh my god! And
I
then
don't
the easy
it.
catches, it's the easy catches that it's just like so frustrating. It's scary. So, yeah, I like the offseason additions. It wasn't. I wanted Robinson back.
Yeah.
To that point, but it had to do what he had to do.
That's the big elephant in the room, right? I mean,
they didn't want to pay. Listen, people were giving me crap on this show, and I'm glad I got another Giants fan that I can get his POV on it. Listen, do I want Dexter Lawrence back in the building? Absolutely. Do I want to pay that kind of money to bring him here? No.
Yeah.
And like, what did he get? Basically a 1 year extension. Like, he didn't get that much money. Like, he got some of the money that, it was getting kicked down, and he got an extra year on that. But you can't pay these guys once they start getting older that type of money. It's just not responsible.
He already got his contract. He already got his bag. So I don't understand why we're having this conversation. Like, I'm so tired of players 2 years into a 4-year deal decide, I'm not happy anymore. I mean, you signed a contract. This is it. You knew what you were getting into. How can you now say just because what's his face is getting paid ridiculous money, he's now looking at him and he wants to be paid like him? I forgot who it was.
Yeah, it was one of the tackles. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, I don't know. But so Dexter, and it's his agent, and he's looking at Dexter. He's looking at the comps, and he's saying, Dexter, you're underpaid, even though you signed this contract. And then he held the Giants hostage over it. And it's like, and something gave me a bad feeling too when Harbaugh was announced. You didn't hear from Dexter Lawrence a peep out of Dexter Lawrence, which surprised me because he's supposed to be one of the captains. He's one of the longest tenured ones on this roster, and he had nothing to say about it. So that made me wonder, okay, is he really bought into this? Does he really approve of this right now? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right? So, because Harbaugh's going to work these guys into the ground, and I don't think Dexter was ready for that. So.
No, he ain't ready. He don't want none of that. So, I mean, and I get it. And I hope he doesn't run them into the ground because you could see that team is good during the regular season, and then those Baltimore teams kind of fade in the playoffs. So I hope he doesn't do that this go around. But to that point, like, listen, Dex was quiet around a lot of the, the signings and what was subsequently happening afterwards. Probably behind the scenes trying to get his money, and it wasn't working out. And the first time he came out publicly was when he said, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So listen, I can't begrudge him that. I wanted him here, but we couldn't pay him what we were going to pay him. So we did the next best thing. We got a draft pick for him. Did I want more draft picks for this guy? Absolutely. But it's tough in this market. So especially when they know the Giants didn't have leverage, right? They didn't have the leverage to move on from Dexter Lawrence. So,
and considering that, I think it's
pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think considering the lack of leverage, it's impressive that they got the return they did, and they got another top 10 pick in the draft for him. So yeah, I wish it was more too.
I'll take
that was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was like waiting for that next shooter drop. Did we get a fourth? Did we get a fifth? And it was like only a first round pick. I'm like,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for that tweet from like Adam Schefter. In addition to the 10th overall pick, the Giants will receive additional compensation. Like what? You know what I mean? So, we're not gonna get it, but it is what it is. I wish him nothing but the best. I love Sexy Desi. I'm gonna be sad that he's not here. Sad that he's not on my Madden game because he's an automatic cheat code up the middle to get a quick sack. You know what I mean? Like if you do it right, you get a sack in Madden 26. You know what I mean? So that's just me. There we go. But we're gonna miss him. But listen, all that being said. We had a little bit of news going on outside of the distractions going on. Joe Schoen got an extension. So after he gets, he's on the hot seat, he gets rid of the coach, he brings in Harbaugh, they do the draft together. It looks like a kumbaya moment. Joe Schoen gets an extension. And the friend of our program, Adriana, who I'm sure, she wanted to come, but she wasn't going to be able to. So we'll get her. Definitely love having a show with her. Shout out to her. Her podcast is really great. Make sure you go support that. She said she wasn't happy. She wasn't a fan of Joe Schoen getting an extension. I think to not loosely quote her, but just when the Giants are doing great stuff, they always do this crap. And they go backwards a step. So I mean, I hadn't talked to you. I hadn't talked to you about this. I talked to you about other stuff. We've been distracted. Bing bong. We've been distracted a little bit, right? But I definitely want to get your POV, man. Joe Schoen gets an extension on his contract. What are we doing here?
I think that the organization was waiting to see how he and John Harbaugh were going to work together. And it's clear that to me anyway, that there's a really good chemistry between the two of them. And I also think, so I think that plus the fact that I do believe Joe Schoen's role has quietly changed here. I don't think he quite has the influence and power that he once had. I think the Giants have moved to try to modernize their front office here, where it's not, you don't have just a GM with a coach that reports up. I think it's now more of a joint collaborative, flatter hierarchy now than it was before. I mean, that was the stipulation. That was the condition of Harbaugh coming here. He basically said, I'm not going to come here and report to Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen's not going to be my boss. Like, we're going to be.
Yeah, I reported directly like to. Yeah. They're almost on the same level, but maybe just like if you had the org chart, like his org goes right up into the coach, and then Schoen's goes right up. You know what I mean? So,
I'm a little.
I can totally see that.
In a vacuum, I would say I would agree with Adriana and say, I don't understand what we're doing here. But if you think of it in the context of his new role and his new level of influence, which I think is less than it was before, I'm a little bit better with it because Joe Schoen's not going to be able to do a damn thing without John Harbaugh's sign off. That's clear to me now with the way that the org chart lays out.
Right.
John Harbaugh, if John Harbaugh wants something, he can go right around Joe Schoen if he wanted to and just go right up to ownership. And ownership would probably write him a blank check, right? Because John Harbaugh's got a tremendous amount of clout right now in the organization, as he should. So under those circumstances, I'm more comfortable with it. I think they're also rewarding Schoen, and you can argue maybe this wasn't all Schoen and it was Dable. Bringing in Jackson Dart, coming up in the draft, drafting up in the draft to get him, the Scadaboo pick, and just other foundational pieces that they see. Joe Schoen will be the first to admit he's not batting 1,000 here. He's had a lot of misses. But he does deserve his flowers for seeming to have drafted some real foundational pieces here that we can build a championship core with, right? And so I think that combined with his new role, combined with how well he and Harbaugh are working together, I think all played into this decision to give him that extension. I think
it's the magic of spin too, right, Anthony? Like, honestly, you can make an argument that it wasn't my fault that we didn't win. I brought the right pieces here, maybe missed on a couple picks here and there, but I brought in Abdul Carter. I brought in Anthony Thomas, or not. Well, Anthony Thomas. I don't think Andrew Thomas was his pick, but I brought in the right pieces. I brought in Scadaboo. I brought in Dart, and we put the product on the field. And if it wasn't for fourth quarter collapses, we would have had a better record. That wasn't my fault. I didn't lose the game in Denver. I gave you the pieces to win that game in Denver. Right. You were up and you lost that game.
Exactly.
Playing, coaching scared. So. If he goes to management and said, dude, it wasn't me, it was him. I gave him the pieces. He didn't put it together. Now I got a coach in here. I made the hire. I didn't let him leave the building. I brought him in here, a guy that can get me those wins. Okay, now we got something. And I think so the one thing that was really weird, and this is the other reason why I didn't talk to you about it, because we just heard that he got an extension. We don't know how long. We don't know what the money is.
We don't know the details.
We don't know the details. All we knew is that after this season, his contract was up. He had 1 year left on his deal. That was it. So we don't know how long he's going to be here, but we can assume it ties him to John Harbaugh. His deal will be concurrent with John Harbaugh's deal at some level. So That's all we know. And I think, listen, we've said it, I've said it, you said it, and other Giants fans that have done this show, Adriana said, the Giants have been dying for stability. Losing coaches or getting rid of coaches every other year and moving on from quarterbacks or what have you, and turnover, like there's just, the Mara and Tisch family did not want to go through another coaching hire. They didn't want to do it, but they had to do it.
Yeah.
And they have, every time they fire a coach, they don't want to fire a coach, but they have to.
Especially mid-season. I mean, the Giants never used to do that.
They never did that, let alone at the end of the season. So when they finally did do that, it was like they are dying for stability. They're dying for that. Okay, I know who my coach is. I know who my GM is. Like we took it, not us, but most fans took it for granted that Coughlin was here for 8+ years and that he was tied to the GMs that he was tied to. I think was Reese and company. So it says a lot when you want that stability, and that's what they got with bringing in Joe Schoen and then keeping him for a period of time, right?
Yeah, and I also think the ownership liked the fact that when Schoen was brought in, we were in cap hell because Gettleman just spent like a drunken sailor money we didn't have. On crap. And Schoen has he deserves his flowers too for cleaning that up as well. Mm-hmm. We now are going to we have a good amount of cap space. We had a good amount of cap space as we've used this season, and I think that cap picture is even going to improve even more.
It should. The Giants didn't have a lot of cap space this year, it was crazy because I was like, we're making all these signings, and I'm like, I think when I looked at it, they had about $40 million of cap space. Like, how did we do this? But it was the magician work, right? Like it was restructuring guys, kicking cans down the line, which you don't like to do, but then moving off of Dex kind of saved their cap hit a little bit. Making some moves and releasing guys, letting guys like Wendell go, opened up some cap space, and then they were aggressive with how they filled it. But yeah, like to your point, like I don't think he gets enough credit for the kind of work he did to assemble this team with the not limited resources, but the limited cap space that he actually did have.
Harbaugh, he's a little bit more of an alpha male to Shane's. I wouldn't say Schoen is as much of an alpha male, so I think that makes them a good complement towards one another.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Because Schoen is in this. I get the sense from Schoen he's a little bit more analytical. He's in the spreadsheets. He's looking at the numbers. And then Harbaugh is that football guy. That they were hoping Dable would be. Yeah, he is, but he's just not a head coach. That's the problem.
He's just not head coach material. He's not. Yeah. And Joe Schoen, he better be glad he signed that extension because my boy Brandon Brown is in that chair. He's looking at him like, you don't do it, I'm gonna do it. Like, cause I love Brandon Brown. He's a smart kid, and he's gonna be a GM one day, and I hope he's a GM for the Giants. So in a succession plan. So while we do that, what we wanted to talk about really quick, the schedule was released, my brother. The New York Giants 2026 schedule was released. We knew the teams were going to play, but now it's all lined up with the order that it's going to go in. So we can we get a season? It's the fourth time in 8 years.
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
That the Giants have, we are literally opening the season. At least it's not in Dallas. At least it's at home. At least we're home. We're home for this one, right? But it's another Giants Cowboys opening Sunday night.
No more Sunday nights though.
Sunday night, like I can't wait all day. I just want to watch my team. Like, listen, I got my schedule when the season starts on Saturday. It's all day from about 12 o'clock to 7, 8 later than that, a multi-view college football. All right. My wife gets mad at me. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do it. It's multi-view. I got games here. I got games here. I got a game on the tablet if it's on ESPN Plus. I'm all over the place. Okay? But then on Sunday, listen, we go to church. I praise the Lord. After that, I go get lunch with the family. Then at 1 o'clock, don't talk to me.
That's it.
Don't bother me. Don't ask me to do nothing. All right. The only thing you can ask me to do is switch my leg from cross left to right to left. Right? That's it. That's all I'm gonna do from here to here. That's it. On Sunday.
I
But
say
now
to
I
my
gotta
wife,
wait
I
all
might be
day.
looking at you from 1 o'clock on Sundays. I might be looking at you, and it might be looking like I'm listening, but I'm not processing anything.
I'm not
you're
listening.
saying, right?
I'm not listening.
I'm just giving you the look.
Just giving you the look, like you, like you know what I mean, like yeah. So I gotta wait all day. You know that means probably NFL Red Zone or something like that until my Giants are on. But yeah, listen, we open with the Cowboys. I want to beat the Cowboys. I want to beat them. But you know, we played the producer, bring that up, bring it back. Like we play the Cowboys. Then we have the Rams. We got the
Titans.
I don't even know. Yeah, the Titans. You know, we got the Cardinals. Like, I mean, listen, we can go through the gambit, but like the tough stretch is probably at the end of the season, right? We have a really tough stretch at the end of the season. Colts are you know, you can go back after the bye. It gets really tough.
Yes.
Like, so going into the bye, to me, like 3-3 is at the worst, right? Like, I think we need to be above 500 going into the bye. Do you agree with that, Anthony?
That would be fantastic. I mean, those first two are going to be tough to win. You're thinking, I'm thinking 0-2. Thankfully,
I think a split. I think a split is fair.
Yeah, because I was going to say, thankfully, weeks 3 and 4 are very winnable. So maybe we go 2-2. Washington could go either way. I mean, I know they've dominated us in the Jaden Daniels era, but historically we've dominated them. So we could steal a game against Washington. I'm not overly scared of them. The Saints, we got to get retribution on the Saints for how they came back against us in that game last year. I'm sorry.
Disgusting.
That still bothers the hell out of me.
How do we lose that game? Of all the games that we lost, I think that was one of the worst. I mean, no, wait. The Broncos game was embarrassing. But
the Broncos game was the worst. That was the worst.
We had no business losing to the Saints.
Right.
No business.
Absolutely. So if we can go into that, I would say if we can go into that by 3 and 4, I'll be happy. You know,
3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't want 3 and 4, but I'll take 3 and 4. You know,
I'm going for the moon. I want 5 and 2.
Oh,
5 and 2. Listen. Do I think we'll be fine? I don't know. But Harbaugh's going to win games that we weren't winning last year. The Titans and the Cardinals, I don't want to say that's a foregone conclusion, but I think you can say that might be a win. I don't know about this Commanders team. I think they've drafted some talent, but I think, you know, there's still some old dogs on that team too. So
they still got Dan
Quinn. Able to get a win.
They still got Dan Quinn, right?
Yeah. They still do.
So there's questions about him, man. You know, his
yeah, he had a fallback season last year. But listen, I see 4 wins on that, and 4 in a possible. If we were playing spades, you know what I mean? 4 in a possible. And then here we go. This is why you can't have your producer
get a new producer here.
Steelers fan. Like just anything attached to the AFC Central, whatever. No, but listen, I think 4 wins is doable. I think 5 is probably a stretch. But if the Giants are as talented as we think they are, I don't see how we can't do it. We have to be above 500 going into after the bye, because coming out of the bye, going to Philadelphia, then you got Washington at home on a quick turnaround on Thursday Night Football. While it's 2 division games and it's a team that it's a home team, producer, put it back up. I'm not finished. It's a tough stretch. You got to go with. Don't take it off. We got to keep it on, brother. We got to keep it on because I got to see the schedule. It's a Thursday Night Football turnaround is not going to be easy. Jaguars, not a bad team. Colts. Right. Don't know what you're going to get with the Colts, but defensively they're a strong team. And, you know, that's the get-back game for Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he'll probably ball out that day, you know.
Yeah, he'll probably ball out that day, or he'll throw 4 interceptions. He'll be one of the – there ain't going to be no middle ground with that guy. He's either going to throw for 3 touchdowns, run for 2, and stick it to us, or he's going to throw us 4 picks, and he's going to lose the game. But that's going to be a tough game. You know, San Francisco at home, that's good. But San Francisco, that's the game. Me and you got to be on our. We got to get on. We
should do a joint podcast with the Niners.
Oh, we will. We absolutely will. That's already signed up. But you know, we got to go to Seattle. Not an easy place to play. You know, the Browns, tough team. Lions, Cowboys on the road, and then we end the season with the Eagles at home. So it's a tough stretch, bro. Like, you know, this is on paper. This is a team that can win 9 games. But looking at the schedule at the run, it ain't going to be easy, bro.
No,
it ain't going to be easy.
I don't see 9 wins, but I see maybe 7 wins, maybe 8.
That's not good. That's not good.
But I don't see 9. I'm sorry, I don't. I at least not in this first year. I think it's going to take some time. They may shock us. I got to see it though. Maybe it's just my trauma talking. I'm looking at week 1 and I harken back to 2 years ago against the Cowboys. And
if I listen to you analytically, the Knicks are out of the playoffs. You're still like, oh, dude, something's gonna go wrong, and we're out of the playoffs. If I talk to you right now, so listen, you don't know what's gonna happen, right? You could have injuries. You could, the Colts and the Jaguars could take a step back. We don't know. Seattle could take a step back. We don't know all the ins and outs. But I'm looking at. I think it's a split week 1 and week 2. I think it's a win with the Titans. It's a win against the Cardinals. That's 3. Give me one of the Washington games. All right, so maybe that's a loss in week 5, but that's a win in week 10. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 wins up to the Saints game. Titans. I mean, the Texans, not a joke. I don't think we're winning that game.
Yeah, we're not winning.
In their building, they're a tough team. So 4 and 3, right? All right, let's do 4 and 3. But then. We go to Philadelphia. We played them pretty well last year. We'll see what we got against them.
We might be able to get 1 win against those guys. Yeah.
We'll get 1 win, but on the road, let's say 4 and 4.
Not on the road. Yeah.
And then, at home against Washington, quick turnaround, but that's a win. So let's 5 and 4. Jaguars and Colts, give me those 2 games. All right. Well, I'm not scared of them. We're going from 5 and 4 to 7 and 4.
They're winnable games. Yeah, absolutely.
They're winnable games. They're not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but people are looking at the Giants as an easy win, and I don't think we're an easy win. So San Francisco at home, give me that game. Just in spite of the 49er nation. Give me that game. 8 and 4. Seattle on the road, that's a loss. 8 and 5. The Browns, I'll take that at home. Give me that. 9 and 5. 9 and 5. Lions, Cowboys, and Eagles, oh my.
Maybe 10 then.
1 and 2 out of that. So give me 10 wins for the New York Football Giants. 10 and 7. 10 and 7. All right. And when it falls this way, play this back. All right. Play this back.
May 28th, 2026, 8:53 p.m. Barry, DeVille, and Jordan called it 10 and 7. I'm
10 and 7.
I'm doing
10
it. Let's do it. 10 and 7.
Yeah.
I'm game. Let's do it.
Yeah, but listen, it's. I like what I see with the additions. I think we got a quarterback finally that we can ball with, and he's got some weapons with him. Neighbors, that knee injury, we could talk about the knee injuries and stuff like that. They said it's a more complicated than they thought it was going to be.
Yep.
We don't know when he's going to be ready to be back, but we also lost. We lost our tackle, right? We lost
Robertson Harris.
What's that?
Ray Robertson Harris.
Yeah, Ray Robertson Harris. We lost him to was it Achilles? I think it was season-ending injuries. So the off-season injuries, OTAs, all that good stuff is going on. I see some good things with the young kids in their OTAs, but then we also had that injury that happened. Roy Robertson Harris, who was a starter. So I think we picked up DJ. Forget his name. We picked up a tackle yesterday. Today. Yeah, Reader.
Yeah.
We picked him up today to try to fill that hole. So I don't know
up.
how that's going to hold up, but I mean, talk to me a little bit about the impact of Roy Robertson Harris and Neighbors, who's slow to get back. I don't know if he's going to be ready when the season starts.
I'm a little concerned about Neighbors, although he couldn't get the surgery as early on as he wanted to because they had to wait for the swelling to go down. And then they said that the scar tissue they recently removed does happen. It doesn't happen after every surgery, but it does happen where scar tissue can sometimes form, and they have to go back in there and remove that. Just can't leave.
Well, it's probably because he couldn't. His recovery was really slow. He couldn't move, and when you my wife had a complete surgery like that, and if you can't get it to move, you will develop that scar tissue. So it was probably complications after the recovery that led to the scar tissue. You got to go back in.
Yep. So I'm a little concerned about that. I don't think he's going to be ready for week 1, but I think we will see him at some point. I am a little worried about the wide receiver depth because of that, because I don't know if we don't have a true real star opposite Neighbors. Like it's still the wide receiver room is really run by him still, even with the additions we've made, you know, so we got some nice players around him, but no superstar talent around him. So that concerns me a little bit, the lack of superstar ability in the wide receiver room, you know, so
can we get grass, bro? Can we get grass? God. Get rid of this goddamn turf.
I know. Well, they say the injuries happen there too. I don't know. It just at least grass has some give. Grass has some give. Turf does not.
They're just cheap. They're being cheap, dude. Like you're bringing it in for the World Cup, and then you can't do anything with these players. That's why Neighbors' knee is completely ripped up because of that turf monster that is MetLife Stadium. It's claimed more lives than any conflict we've had with any country. You know, like the MetLife is. You know, it's so ironic because MetLife is an insurance company, and you got to take out insurance on your players because they can't survive on the field. It's diabolical. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, it's diabolical.
Can we give it to Iran or something? You know,
somebody. I mean, but yeah, MetLife can't even save these guys. So that's probably why they sponsored the stadium, because they know once the players come in there, they got some money. You know what I'm saying? So. You need an insurance policy? You saw what happened to Neighbors, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, it's just
create the disease and then sell them the cure. You know?
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But listen, I think Robertson is a sneaky big injury just because he was he was only competent tackle. Like that's one of the other reasons that I wasn't really happy with Snacks. You know. He didn't have a really good year last year. He struggled most of the time last year. The only guy that played well, granted, it was because he was single covered. Yeah. He only had to go up against one-on-ones in the middle, but it was Robertson Harris, and now he's hurt. So that's a big blow.
Nunez Roches is gone, I believe, too.
That's what I heard, too. That's what I heard. So
and I kind of liked him. He was kind of a spark plug, you know.
Yeah, another one. So it's, you trying to replace bodies that you're losing with Dexter, with Sexy Dexy, and you don't have anybody. The guys that you have are getting hurt.
But the bodies they've replaced him with, I saw a stat. They have just the same amount of weight that Dexter Lawrence brought, and at a fraction of the price. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know if it's the same ability. It might be a fraction of the ability, but
but don't move them. You can't move them, right? So that works for me. So. Right. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but let's just get through OTAs. Let's get it's a new offense, I think, for everybody, so they got to learn that as well. I just hope Harbaugh isn't going to run these guys into the ground. Don't be a Tibbs. Don't be a Thibodeau.
Well, it's funny you make that comparison because I think this is extremely like that situation. You know, the Giants.
Christine, you're right. You're right, because he ain't sexy no more. Because you can't be sexy in Cleveland Browns color. Right? That's not sexy. You know what I mean? I look good in my big blue. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my wife said no. She said, "Oh."
Yeah, she's got her own comments on that. We're gonna have a separate podcast about that one.
But, I don't care what she says. I know I look good. Goddamn it. But no, listen, it's serious. Honestly, just don't run them into the ground. Just don't run these guys into the ground, right?
I mean, Harbaugh is like Tibbs. He's a floor raiser, and that's what the Giants need, just like that's what the Knicks needed. So, we could be sitting here in 3 years, God willing, we're all healthy and here and happy and able to do it. We could be sitting here saying, you know what, just like we said about Tibbs, it's run its course, right? Like he's built up the culture. That's great. Yeah. Now we need a coach to take us over the top, right?
Yeah, maybe he goes into the front office. You never know.
Yeah. So
grooms the guy behind him. Who knows?
But he is what this team needs. I know he's going to run them harder than they've been worked in years. I heard they already turned off the music at practices.
Good.
Because he was like, the only sounds I want are football sounds, is what he said.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, they should just be playing John Facenda and old NFL music. Don't even it's the crap that they play. Like, I don't want to hear that crap. Dude, go hit somebody. You know what I mean? Go hit somebody.
So he'll have that same effect.
That's me being old. That's me being old. Because if that was my team, we'd be playing Wu-Tang the whole time. Wu-Tang's for the kids. Yeah. So, listen, listen, you gotta have an adult in the room, and I hope he just builds up the culture, but doesn't run him into the ground too hard. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We just need that guy. We just need that guy in the building. But I'm happy to see it. It's the off season is almost over. As soon as we know it, we'll be back here, previewing the season, really giving a good preview of what is to come for this team. So, and listen, I love doing this show with you. We decided we got pressured into making this big blueprint a thing. It's been buzzing around. I said, yeah, I'll do it. I got to get my guy Anthony. I'm not doing it by myself. So now, Anthony's locked in. We're locked in.
Sure.
And listen, it's jealousy. The villain isn't too proud to say it was absolute jealousy. I hate seeing the 49ers show pop off with their bang bang Niner gang. Nah, Big Blue Wrecking Crew. We do it just as big as they do. So we here, we in the building. Holla at you.
Tell them to look at the intro we showed at the beginning of this podcast.
That's
and
right.
You'll see in one of the highlights, you'll see Mark Bavaro, who I have his jersey, and I'll wear it on the next show.
That's right.
Pulling 6 49ers on his back, going 10 yards down the field. Okay.
And you know what was diabolical today, though, brother? Like I had it, the TV was on. I wasn't really watching because I was so busy working. They had all the 49ers Super Bowl games on NFL Network all day today. Like they played the full game all day. So Niners fans should be happy that they got their little day on NFL Network. But
who ended their three-peat? Who ended
never forget. We ended the three-peat.
That's right.
We stomped you out. Mark Bavaro still running over people right now. You know what I mean? We own you. How did that 49er that championship game in
2012 championship game?
How'd that feel? How'd that feel, Diner game? How'd that feel? So like listen, we got smoke for them. We got smoke for the Eagles. I can't stand the Eagles. So but we here, man. The big blueprint. I'm so glad we got it popped off. First of many. Anthony, it has been a pleasure to do this show with you. I'm glad you're my ride or die co-host. Give us a plug and close and get us out of here, my man.
No, it's great to spend the last hour not thinking about the Knicks, because we'll be talking about them and thinking about them. And I know we got a show on Monday, so tune in on that. Monday at 8 o'clock.
Monday, yeah. I'm gonna donate my pinky though. I'm gonna donate.
Yeah. I know. I saw that news, but got to give our Giants some love. And when the Knicks are finished doing what they got to do, and when they close the deal, hopefully. We'll celebrate that for a while, and then we'll come back to talking about our favorite Big Blue here, because I think brighter days are ahead for this organization. I can't wait to be a part of it. So
we've been saying that for a while. It's got to happen.
I know.
It's got to happen.
But I believe it. I believe it this time. And
I believe it too.
You said we're going to go 10-7, so there you go.
Yeah, I already put that energy out there. It's in the universe. It's got to happen. It's got to come through fruition, right?
Absolutely. One of these years.
Absolutely. Thank you, Happy. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Listen, thank you everybody for hollering at us and stopping by. Everybody in the comments chatting with us. We appreciate you. First of many. Listen, this is our first one that we're doing now. We'll obviously do a couple more shows, and then as the season progresses, we'll pop in and out and recap the Giants, man. Hopefully after a successful season. I do my little Giants recaps after the games. I'm just going to expand it and do it with my brother Anthony. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, listen, I appreciate you, everybody. You know how to find us on the Executives View. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Spotify on the next day. We're on Twitch. I think we might be. Who knows? But we're on your socials, man. You can find us on YouTube live there every day. Thank you for everybody that rocks with us on Spotify. We're getting nice numbers there. Everybody rocking with us on Twitter. We appreciate you. Listen, we got a lot of stuff planned for you guys next week. It is that Knicks talk. It is Orange and Blue Skies previewing the NBA Finals. And then we'll probably do another Knicks show at the end of the season, recapping what was a pretty successful season for the Knicks. But there's a lot of shows that's popping off. The 49ers will do their show. We have our Total Sports. We have our Backstage Business. We'll be doing the recap, live reaction after the clash in Italy. So on Sunday, not Saturday, on Sunday. So be prepared for that. Everybody, please rock with us then. We appreciate you. Listen, everybody get out there, support your neighborhood villain. If you don't have one, you got the best one in the building, Barry the Villain. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Peace.